Hey guys, what's going on? Sean of Third Railify here, and I hope you're having a beautiful day today. So, with the Paris Olympics all wrapped up, we can really thoroughly look at how disastrous it was. Everything from the river that was being toxic to the opening ceremonies to men punching women for gold medals, all of that stuff. But another hilarious sort of disaster that happened was breakdancing. Breakdancing was so unsuccessful that it's not in the next Olympics. They cut it. It got its shot, and then they cut it. And they cut it likely because of Rachel Gunn. Raygun. That's a pretty clever name, you know. But this girl sucked. She sucked so good. Everyone made memes about it, everyone joked, everyone did whatever. The Australian Olympic boss or whoever came out and was like, no, it's misogyny. You can't say things about Rachel Gunn. She worked so hard. She cried her eyes out. She cried so much. What? Wait, what? She was competing against men and she cried. Well, why is she competing against men? She's a B girl. She should be competing with B girls. There is so much misogyny. I bet there fucking wasn't, considering she's only been breakdancing for, a handful of years. She started in 2012. Her husband got her into it. So she's been doing it for 10 years. Some people have been doing it their entire lives. She was the one that went to the Olympics. So, a lot of people, their eyebrows raised, right? So I said, so she sucked so good. Like Tommy Wiseau's The Room.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
If you've seen that, you know what I'm talking about. Oh, hi, Mark. You know what I mean? I did not hit her. I did not. Okay. How is it that the best Australia has to offer lost? Not just every match. And that's fine to lose every match, right? We're going up against the best and the brightest of sport. But she didn't even score a single point. Not a single point against anybody. I don't think that's I don't even think that was possible. So, some people have suggested that maybe this whole thing was fake all along. Here we have this. Like, subscribe, share, help me grow this channel on at Third Railify on YouTube, on Twitter, on X, and on Rumble. Most importantly, on Rumble. Australian breakdancer rigged Olympic qualifier for free Paris vacation. That is the thing that is being said right now. Before, it was, hey, this woman deliberately, who she's a PhD professor or whatever, who is she teaches like cultural dance and movement and stuff like that, and her opinion, her philosophy was that breakdancing shouldn't be in the Olympics because this is a subculture. And if you put it into the Olympics, it becomes the culture. And it's sort of like, it sort of ruins it. And fair enough. That's very valid. Skateboarding, for example, is a subculture, a little bit against the machine. And when it goes into the Olympics, you're sort of, I don't know, whitewashing, you're sort of corporatizing and all that stuff. And it goes from subculture to, corporate culture, and it does ruin it. And so it is believed that she went there and skunked it on purpose so she could then later profit, write papers and like a book and all that other stuff. And the arguments that people are making regarding that are very compelling. I guess we're going to find out in the future when the books and the papers and all of that monetization starts to happen. But right now, it has come to light that Dr. Rachel Gunn, aka Raygun, manipulated the Paris qualifier by setting up her own governing body, denying grants to underprivileged performers, and allowing her husband to coach the national team. Australians have started a petition demanding an investigation and an apology. This is the petition. Hold. Raygun, Rachel Gunn, and Anna Mears accountable for unethical conduct Olympic selection. We, the undersigned, call for immediate accountability and transparency in the recent actions of Rachel Gunn and Anna Mears in the selection process for Australia's female breakdancer representative at the upcoming Olympics. Rachel Gunn, who set up her own governing body for breakdancing, because there wasn't one, because it was a new sport. So she was like, well, I guess I'll do it. I mean, somebody had to do it. But if you're going to be setting up your own governing body, you don't get to be a participant. You know what I mean? It reeks of corruption. She has manipulated the selection process to her own advantage, despite the clear talent and qualification of other outstanding female breakdancers like G. Clef and Holly Molly. They were unfairly overlooked. The NT Long Boys, a group of incredibly talented and underprivileged youth from the Northern Territory, were denied crucial funding by Dr. Gunn to attend the qualifiers, a decision that directly impacted their chance to showcase their skills on the national stage. So, as the governing body, the official Australian breakdancing governing body, you sort of have to dole out the funds for your athletes to sort of compete. They sort of like register and qualify to compete and all that. And then, it's almost like a national sponsorship to get to the end so who goes to the Olympics. And she was like, you don't get money and you don't get money and you don't get money. And these guys were like, but I really want to show you what I can do. But, I'm from the Northern Territory. I'm poor as shit. And she's like, what do I look like to you, Oprah? Disturbingly, Dr. Gunn went on to win her own qualifier. Imagine that! Defeating other phenomenal breakdancers, raising serious questions about the fairness and integrity of the process. That's what I was saying here. People were like, really? This is what Australia has to offer? How is this the best that Australia has? Because Australia sent one boy and they sent one girl. Other countries sent multiple boys and multiple girls. How? It doesn't make sense. Make it make sense. The only way, in my mind, it makes sense is if there was actually significant corruption, which is kind of too bad because this girl sort of, won people over with her ridiculousness. If Dr. Gunn's husband is indeed the Australian coach and part of the selection panel, this represents a blatant conflict of interest that cannot go unchecked. It's true. Like, what's he going to do? Like, not pick his wife? He's going to be like, well, honey, I didn't select you for the Olympics because, I don't find your bunny hop very good. We demand a public apology from Rachel Gunn and Anna Mears for misleading the Australian public and attempting to gaslight the public and undermining the efforts of genuine athletes. We also call for a full investigation into the selection process, an audit of Dr. Gunn's business dealings, and a global public apology to the breaking community for the unethical behavior that has tainted this sport. Rachel Gunn's lack of ethics and morals raises serious concerns about her fairness to teach and hold any position of authority in the sport or university. One thing I think that should also be pointed out is that she's getting like $56,000 tax-free for her like being a PhD student and teaching dance and doing all this. So she has her paychecks that she gets, that she earns from her university and everything else. But the government is like, oh, yes, here's an additional $56,000 tax-free for, just being you. The cost of living in Australia is very, very high. A friend of mine who lives in Australia, Daniel Clancy, he's told me it's wildly expensive. Everything is just so much more expensive in Australia. So a lot of the people are like, what do you mean she's getting $56,000 tax free for nothing from the government? Australia must do better by its athletes and ensure that the principles of fairness, transparency, and integrity are upheld in all aspects of Olympic selection. So that is this change.org petition. There's been, I don't know, 100 different articles. I haven't really covered it because I haven't really cared. But now it's getting a little crazy. Raygun not returning to Australia after Olympics with rest of the team. Here's what she'll do instead. Now remember, she's accused of rigging this so she could have a free Paris vacation. She's not returning to Australia with the team. Australia's now infamous breakdancer Raygun will not return home with her fellow Olympic athletes and instead will enjoy a holiday in Europe. That's nice. Isn't that just nice? Her and her husband. The 36-year-old made headlines around the world for her bizarre performance in Paris that saw her fail to score a single point across 3 battles, which is insane. Australia's Olympians landed in Sydney on Wednesday morning after the conclusion of the games, but Raygun was not on board the plane. She will instead remain in Europe, potentially to spend some downtime with her husband, Samuel Free, and her parents. The athletes were reunited with family and friends on Wednesday morning inside a Qantas hangar at Sydney Airport. So Raygun's disastrous breakdance performance sparks wild conspiracy theories from fans who claim to know why the Australian was really at the Olympics. So it has emerged that she is a lecturer at Sydney's Macquarie University and has a PhD in cultural studies focusing on the politics of gender and gender performance and the methodological dynamics between theory and practice. Gun's LinkedIn page notes she is interested in the cultural politics of breaking. Her qualifications have led to theories that Gunn used her Olympic debut to bulk up her research work and show the inclusion of breakdancing in the Olympics could negatively affect the sport in Australia. Many have accused the professor of using the stage to protest the institutionalization of breakdancing, giving her scholarly work, which argues the subculture is at risk of being co-opted by officials, commercialized, and put through a rigid judging structure. So she does the bunny hop. She's doing all kinds of stuff like this, trying to prove a point that my moves and what I feel doesn't fit into your rigid structure. So that's why I scored 0 points. And I look like a fool because your institutionalized grid of things I need to do, it's not good for the sport. Podcaster Hannah Brielli claimed on X that Gunn was trying to make some subversive point she can later write journal articles about. She says this whole episode is demonstrative of the supreme selfishness of woke identity politics studies. Her little stunt diminishes Australia on the world stage, which I actually believe it 100% does. Everyone is mocking Australia, going, this is the best you got. Australia, you may as well send an emu. It would have done out better moves. For hundreds of Australian athletes who will have dedicated their entire lives to athletic excellence will be forgotten because Rachel wanted to bulk up her ResearchGate profile. CUNY sociology professor Devrim Yevaz had a similar take, writing, I am 98% convinced that this is a breaching experiment that Raygun did as part of an ethnography on gender and sports at the Olympic Games breakdancing competition, or is performance art. Sky News editor Jack Houghton argued in an editorial that Gunn had planned to turn her joke of an Olympics performance into some sort of paper on one of the aforementioned academic buzzwords. So, now imagine it is announced that breakdancing is coming into the Paris Olympics. She thinks there is no academic body. I will create the academic body. And then she says, I will deny everybody else the opportunity to go, I will go, and then I will deliberately tank it to make my subversive point, and then I will write all the papers about it. And there's a benefit, free vacation in Paris. Bob's your uncle. Is 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 that too far-fetched? Is that too crazy of a wild conspiracy theory? Now, do keep in mind that conspiracy theorists have a shocking track record of being correct. Pretty crazy how correct conspiracy theorists have been, especially in the last, like, 4 or 5 years. In her paper titled The Australian Breaking Scene in the Olympic Games, The Possibilities and Politics of Sportification, Gunn argues that this commercialization is against the spirit of breakdancing, which is rooted in local communities centered around street battles, ciphers, and block parties. The paper states this trajectory points towards an increasing loss of self-determination, agency, and spontaneity for local Australian breakers and will have profound consequences for the way in which hip-hop personhood is constantly remade and renegotiated in Australia. So it sounds like she absolutely hated the idea of breakdancing being in the among Olympic sports. So why go? You hate the idea of a breakdancing being in the Olympics, so then why set up the governing body? Why make it so breakdancers can go? Why rig it then so you are the breakdancer that gets to go? Like, make it make sense. Make it make sense in a way that doesn't suggest she planned it all and conspiratorialized with her husband. Because only one thing makes sense, is that Raygun's the actual villain here. Getting 0 points on purpose in 3 rounds for an academic study subsidized by the taxpayer both at a university and Olympic level isn't funny and isn't having a go. That is what the Indigenous leader and sports administrator Megan Davis accused Gunn of, intentionally botching her Olympics performance. That also said it was a disgrace. Raygun and fellow breakers' final act of defiance after their sport was cut from the Olympic Games. So breakdancing wasn't solidified. It was sort of like, we'll see how it goes. We'll put it in. We'll see how it goes. If it goes well, we'll keep it. If it's not good, we're tossing it because there's other sports that maybe deserve a try. Maybe some of the older sports that people really liked could come back in. And Raygun basically made a mockery of the whole thing. Raygun may have dominated headlines for all the wrong reasons at the Paris Olympics, but the Aussie breakdancer and international dancers literally stole the show at closing ceremony. So when speeches were being done and the ceremony was closing, the breakdancers went off and they sort of did their own thing. They were breakdancing, doing some of their best work, and kind of made like a little side spectacle while the closing ceremony was happening. That's their little act of defiance. So the sport has been axed for Los Angeles in 2028, and it's not in 2032 or beyond. Maybe it can make a comeback, maybe not. But breakdancing got a real bad name. It sucked so bad they had to yank it. Raygun becomes a sex symbol with some fans after setting the internet on fire. She's now a sex symbol? That's crazy. Because she was all like, little bunny hop, maybe I'm a kangaroo. Slithering like a snake. I mean, is she pretty? Sure. But as a sex symbol, I wanna end on this. So far we have Raygun was the best Australia had to offer. They didn't have an Olympic body, so she set one up. She then denied other people the money to participate or to qualify or whatever. So then she almost got to go by default. Then she gets there, deliberately scores 0, so she can then write papers and books and stuff on it. And then, because she made her husband, the head coach, gets to have a free Paris vacation. which she is on right now. Hopefully, she's having a great time. So, I mean, that's pretty shitty, let's be honest. Meet the breakdancer who lost out to the viral sensation Raygun for a place at the Olympics, as unseen clip racks up millions of views online. So one of the very talented young women is a woman named Molly Chapman. She goes by Holly Molly. This here is Holly Molly doing one of her things. Her dances, her routines. I don't know the lingo. I'm not with the lingo. I'm not a young kid anymore. Anyways, look how amazing she is compared to Kangaroo Hop, Kangaroo Hop. That is some good footwork. There's no way that doesn't score at least 1 point. In the three the preliminary rounds that you get at the Olympics, there's no way she doesn't score at least 1 point. This woman is objectively better. Objectively better, 100% objectively better. And somehow she doesn't qualify. Again, multiple countries, there's a bunch of countries had multiple boys and multiple girls go. In one round, it was actually a Ukrainian B girl competing against another Ukrainian B girl. So how is it Australia can only send one boy and one girl? That one girl being Rachel Gunn, who set up the committee, who denied everybody else money to go. How is it this chick, Holly Molly, how is it that she didn't even get to go? Which is also a really weird question. If multiple countries are sending more than one breaker, why didn't Australia send, a couple boys and a couple girls like the other countries? Very, very weird. I don't understand it. Maybe because she was planning to get 0 points. She didn't want her fellow Australian to outshine her, or who knows? I don't know. But Rachel Gunn is not the victim that Anna Mears is claiming she is. I think she's actually the villain in this story. But that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Thank you for watching this video. I love you all so very much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, all of those things. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. Peace.